All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. All of you know that I talk about BI, ETL, AI/ML, and data engineering. Today we are going to talk about one of the very unique tool, which is Power Pivot. If your organization has not invested too much on the technology and you have to pull data from multiple data sources, create a data model and do some analysis. You only have Excel to do it. So how can you do it? That's what we will try to do today. So the tool which can do all the data analysis for you is Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is one of the add-on in Excel. So if you open your Excel and if you see somewhere here Power Pivot, it means you already have Power Pivot added to your Excel. If you don't see it, you can go to Files, you can go to Options and go to Add-ons. And that's where you will find Power Pivot for Excel. If it is not activated, you can always activate. It's a COM add-in. Go click on COM add-in, click on Go, and then you can always check this and click on OK. It will start showing up. In case you don't see this under your add-in list, which is possible if you don't see it under your add-in list, you have to download it from the Microsoft website. You have to download this Power Pivot for Excel 2010 and Power Pivot in Excel 2013. It's a .exe file. You have to download, install it. Once it is installed, it will start showing up under add-ins and you can activate this add-in. So today we are going to do a bit of data analysis to understand how Power Pivot can be used. Some of the key features in Power Pivot is that you can create data model. You can create KPIs, you can create measures, which are typically called DAX as well. So you can create those in Power Pivot. The data which we'll work with is a very simple and dummy data where you have customers, customer ID, customer name, address, country, city, state, and zip, everything about customer. It's a dim table of customer. Similarly, there is an invoice detail, which is a table which has everything about the invoices. Now, I have invoice number. I have for each invoice, what is the price and what is the unit cost and unit price. Third table is invoice header, which will act as a link between your customers and invoice details. So every invoice number will have a customer ID. And if you want to know more about customer ID, you will go to customer tables. This is where you will find everything about the customer. If you want to know more about the invoice number, you go to invoice details. This is where you will find more about the invoice details. So your invoice header is a link between these two tables. Now, the question I want to answer is that which customer has done highest quantity in the data? I want to find the customer name which has done highest quantity in the data. How can I find it? Now, in a conventional Excel, how I can do it is I can go back for this customer ID, I have to bring the customer name, and for invoice number, I have to bring the price using multiple VLOOKUPs. We know how to do VLOOKUP, so you can do equals to VLOOKUP, select invoice number, go to invoice details, go to invoice ID, bring quantity out of this data, right? But there may be a case where you need multiple data sets, right? There may be a case you need multiple columns to be pulled and you cannot have so many VLOOKUPs. It is difficult to maintain and you will be stuck into a maintenance nightmare. So that is where let's understand how we can accomplish this using Power Pivot. So very first thing is for Power Pivot, it is always good to put your data into a table. So we'll first go to insert and put our data into a table. So our customers data is into a table. Our invoice header, again, we will go to insert, click on table and add it as a table. Invoice details, same thing we will do, insert table. All right, so our three data sets are now inserted to the table. Now, next step is we want to create a data model. So how will I create a data model? I'll select the data, go to Power Pivot, add in, add to data model. So let's add this table to the data model. So now you will see this is the Power Pivot console where you see customer ID, customer name, and all that data from the customer sheet added here. I'll call it, let's call it customer info. So our customer data is added. I'll go back, select invoice header, again, add to data model. Now my invoice header is also added. Let's just rename it invoice link table. I'll call it invoice customer link. I'll go back quickly, add my third data set, add to data model. And this is our invoice info table, right? Invoice info. So I got my three tables already in. This is the Power Pivot console. I have my three tables already added to it. I'll go to diagram view because currently I'm in data view. I'll switch to diagram view. And when I go to diagram view, I see my three tables here. What is the next step? Next step is to link these tables using some of the relationship keys. That's what we do in SQL. That's what we do in any other language. Either we use joins to link tables and create one flat table out of it, or we find the common keys and we create a data model. Now here, what we are going to do is we are going to find common key between the tables. So customer info and customer ID, customer info and invoice link has a customer ID common. So I'll just click, drag and drop. The link is created. Invoice number from here is common with invoice ID and invoice info. Now there is a relationship between these three tables. I can pull any column from any table and use another column from another table to find the relationship or to do any analysis. What kind of relationships is this? If I double click on this, I can see customer ID, and it's an active relationship. If I want to edit any of the relationships, I can always edit it. If I want to see any of the relationship, I'll go and click on existing connections. That's where we typically see all the existing connections which are built. I'll go and check on the manage relationships. And under manage relationships, you can see what kind of connection it is. It is a many to one connection, and what is the filter direction as well. Once this is done, what we can do is we'll go back to home, click on pivot table, and what we want to do is we want to put this data into a pivot table. So click on pivot table. Let's create it on new worksheet. We know pivot table, right click, show field list. On the right side, you have your three tables. Now, our initial question was identify the customer name who has done highest sales, highest quantity. So I'll drag sum of quantity, sort it largest to smallest. So we see advanced paper company has done the highest quantity. We are able to pull data from multiple data sources, from multiple tables. One is customer info, another is invoice info, because there is a relationship present between these tables. So that is where we are able to do it. There are other things such as KPIs and measures. Let me know if you want to understand more about these. I can talk in some of my other videos. But for now, this is what it is. You can create relationships and you can do your analysis across multiple tables. It is very, very easy. If I don't have this connection, how can what will be the result? So let's say we go back and we break this connection. So I'll go click on edit relationships. I'll make it inactive. And I will go back to my Excel, to my pivot table. And if you see now 3360 is repeating across the data. Now it is not able to identify sum of quantity for each customer name. It is just giving you overall sum of quantity by all customer names. So that's where relationships are important. And you should know what kind of relationship you are creating. You are creating one-to-one or many-to-one. Based on that, your output will differ. There are many more features which can be done in Power Pivot. You can create KPIs, you can create measures, you can create DAX, you can create calculated columns. We can talk about those if you are interested. For now, that's what it is. All right. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning. Bye.